Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Walaikum salam, sir.
Yes, this Ramadan, what happened really? Because how do I say it? I was confident, but I was humbled. Last year, I was blessed to go the whole 30 days. So naturally, I just locked it in my mind, like, well, if you did that, you can do it. So I was expecting to just go at it and it would be a breeze as far as the fasting. As far as the reading, that's always a challenge to me, not because I don't make time, but because I'm having difficulty deciphering the Quran and really interpreting it fully, not just reading it to read it. So that has been a challenge for years, but I have been doing it. This year, I ordered a book just to help me kind of decode and, kind of put it in plain terms. So I'm still working on that execution I mean, I know we could never really understand every single thing, and it takes time. From what I've been told, the level that you are at spiritually, mentally, that will be the level that Quran will be revealed to you. That's what I've been told. So, I'm just kind of rolling with it. As far as the fast, I feel it was successful. I was 28-2, really 29. As far as the food, I broke the fast one day because I was feeling a little nauseous. I was cleaning my home and I lit some incense, and I think it just didn't really go well on an empty stomach and smelling oils all day. So that was that. But I did drive around for about 20 minutes to find someone to feed. I fed someone, came back home. The other day, I just, it just didn't go well. But it humbled me because it made me realize, don't judge people. You're not who you think you are, because you came in thinking you were just going to do X, Y, and Z, and you failed at certain places. That hurt. It hurt bad because I want to please Allah. It hurt real bad, but it just showed me we're not perfect. Allah is the most merciful. I prayed on it, and all I can do is just do better. So I guess if we're just doing testimonies, that's my testimony, and I'll wait until we go to the other part for the Messiah's words. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
And thank you, sir. Walaikum salam. We got a little background noise, so give me a second. And for those who just joined us, we're doing a Ramadan reflection, our gains, and then the second part we'll go into discussing the minister on the Eid prayer line. So I'm going to go on mute if you all can.
Anyone able to go next for Ramadan reflections?
Yes, sir. This is Sister Tina. Assalamu alaikum and Eid Mubarak.
Wa alaikum salam, sis. Eid Kareem.
Yes, sir. Ramadan went very well. All praises due to Allah. It was a struggle in some areas. The fasting, I completed my 30 days with the fasting, but it was thanks to Allahu Akbar. Yes, sir. It was thanks to. Am I coming through okay? Are you getting any computer love?
No, ma'am. It's crystal clear.
Okay. But it was thanks to something Brother Sultan said. our national imam, student national imam, he said a couple of years ago, he was telling us about when we break our fast during Ramadan. I mean, if we're sick or something like that, okay. If we're traveling over a certain amount of miles, okay. But sometimes we talk ourselves into, I know I used to do it, talk myself into breaking my fast because I say, oh man, I don't think I can make it today. And so he told us the importance of not doing that. And I cannot remember what he said. I can't even paraphrase it. I'm not even able to paraphrase it at this time. But him telling us the importance of not breaking our fast if we don't fit into a certain criterion to break it, the importance of not doing that. So I held on to that last Ramadan and I was successful. This Ramadan and I was successful because of his words, to us. Because at some point I felt like, wow, I really think I need to eat, or I really think I need to drink. And then I would remember his words and I said, no, I don't. So it made me to hold on. So I thank him for that. And I need to go back and find his words somewhere so I would be able to, say it more clearly if I ever repeat it again. So it was a blessing. And the reading of the Holy Quran, I got behind maybe a couple of times, but I caught it back up. And Allah blessed me to see more, especially by way of the STW straight wire, the Holy Quran straight wire. I was able to, with Brother Patine and Sister Belinda and Sister Jacqueline, I was able to, see more things in the word, more revelation in the word for myself. So it was very successful. And yeah, because we getting ready to go into a serious time. Well, we already in a serious time, but it's gonna get worse. So this Ramadan, I feel, really strengthened me. So all praise is due to Allah. I thank Allah. That's it.
Allahu Akbar. Absolutely
Allahu
beautiful.
Akbar.
That was beautiful. Those words from student imam would be great because I know I'm good for talking myself out of something. So those would be really great because that helped you, and that just shows how we can sometimes we're our own worst enemy because we can do it, but we start all of a sudden. I really need to eat something. I'm really thirsty. So that was absolutely beautiful that his words were able to take you across the finish line by Allah's grace and mercy. Praise be to Allah. Who do we have next that would like to give a powerful testimony about Ramadan?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa
Walaikum salam, sis.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum and Eid Mubarak.
Walaikum salam, Eid Kareem. Yes,
Wa
ma'am.
alaikum
Coming in
salam.
prayer.
Yes, sir. I just had a fantastic Ramadan. I had a little trial where my daughter was in an accident and she broke her neck, but Allah, she's here, she's walking, she's doing fine. But prior to Ramadan, I have a set of triplets, my grandson. So I was announcing to my grandchildren that I'll be doing Ramadan. Ramadan is coming up. And one of the triplets, he's the husky one. He said, well, I want to do it with you. And they're 12. And I thought they're a bit young to do the Ramadan. But I just want to let your sister and brother know that my triplets did the whole 30 days with their grandmother. And that was just beautiful to me. And I could not do Ramadan and fail them. So Ramadan has been remarkable to me. Praise be to Allah.
All praise is due to Allah, sister. That's a blessing. And the triplets too. Praise
Yes,
be to
ma'am.
Allah.
Yes, ma'am.
Praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah. Does anyone know if there's something with children born during Ramadan? I think I heard a believer say something about that, but I never got confirmation. Is there anything in scripture about children or blessings during Ramadan that's related to childbirth?
I don't know of anything.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
What was the
ma'am.
question, Brother Jason? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
What was the
ma'am. The
statement?
question was, is there anything in scripture relating to children being born during the month of Ramadan?
Yeah.
And nothing that I'm aware of either. In scripture.
Yes, ma'am. Who would like to share next? Ramadan testimonies?
Assalamu alaikum. This is Brother Wadud.
Alaikum salam, sir.
Wa alaikum salam.
My testimony for Ramadan, and again, the fasting for me has not been, it hasn't been difficult for me over the years. I've become accustomed to being able to do it. I thank Allah that I have the strength to do it. That's just one of the areas that I've found myself to be strong in, because I am in healthcare and want to be an example of what the teachings from our How to Eat to Live and just healthcare in general be a reflection of it. And so I do adhere to one meal a day as often as I can. So over the course of time, being able to do the Ramadan fast is, in my mind, just a variation of eating one meal a day. I do get up for the prayer line every morning, and having learned about some of the different practices that different believers would employ during Ramadan. I'm thinking of Brother Minister Akbar, and he spoke in previous classes of taking in food before the sun comes up. I don't do that. I do stick with my one meal at night, but I do get up and have my water, have my coffee if I want coffee that morning, and get all of that in before the day starts. And then it's just a matter of going through the rest of the day until sundown. It did make me more aware of how I carried myself throughout the day, in terms of being in difficult situations, but still maintaining a demeanor that was conducive to being in the month of Ramadan, not letting myself get upset, holding my patience a little longer, that type of thing. So that was basically it for me. I did also get some gains because this was my first year in participating with the technology workshop. And so going through the Holy Quran in the way that we did offered more insights into different things that I may have read in the past, but not looked at from the different perspectives that everyone brought to the technology class. So that's my testimony. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you. And thank you, everyone. I
Wa
think
alaikum salam.
everyone has had a chance. So I will share what was for me the greatest gain was analyzing my study, well, actually examining my study, I'll get it right, Sister Tina. I examined it, I analyzed it, and one of the corrections was I buddied up with a sister to go through the IS together. So, Brother Jason, that was the difference for me, because when you read it by yourself, a lot of times I'm reading and I'm just reading. So when I buddied up with this sister, I was able to just improve the study of the Holy Quran. So that was my great gain this Ramadan. And as far as the physical fasting, it went well. I only struggle with maybe the hydration or the lack of electrolytes or whatever. This year I had more night cramps than I've ever had before. But outside of that, it was a very successful Ramadan.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. And I just wanted to add, physically, well, I definitely lost weight. I can't say how much. I can't say how much I can attribute it to Ramadan, because I was traveling. And two things I wanted to say. Spiritually, I think one of the believers just said that it helped them with. Oh, I think that was you, Brother Wadud. It helped with not mastering your emotions, not getting upset, not arguing. And I think this Ramadan, I really, really got a great concept of that. You know, it just kind of seemed like only during Ramadan, all of a sudden, I don't know if it's people know you're fasting, but it's like more problems come your way, more, more people try to provoke, just silly things. But it just, I'm learning how to rise above emotion and understand that you don't have to engage. That's a choice you make. So I think these last 30 days, it's something that I'm going to, put into practice and make a pattern of the character we're to exhibit during Ramadan, and just, not engage whatever's coming your way. Okay, acknowledge it, but you don't have to engage. So that was one thing. And the last thing is, I think I've influenced my family into, they don't know anything about the minister, they don't know anything about the nation, but I actually started my fast and I was around my family in West Africa. And of course, they, all they know is white Jesus. They don't know anything other than that. So as I was trying to give them a little bit of the teachings and to try to tell them, what we're into and what we do, the main question was, are you Christian or Muslim? Are you Christian or Muslim? And I said, well, we believe that there's one God, and labels divide, principles unite. But when I started this Ramadan, I don't think they wanted to say it, but I think they started to see, okay, well, wow, this is serious. They take whatever they call themselves, whatever they practice, they take it very seriously. So even though they'll never say it, because they're on that, white Jesus thing hard. I think that I'm just thankful to Allah that I was able to at least start it over there, so they could kind of just see how serious, we take our obedience to Allah. Thank you. Assalamu
alaikum. Yes, sir. And every knee will bow. So if they live long enough, they more than likely will be bearing witness. So it's just a matter of time. Yes, sir. Sister Tina.
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to add something as well. A gain that something that I gained in the Ramadan was this Ramadan was the first Ramadan I ever went through in all the years I've done the holy month of Ramadan, where the time progressively, constantly went back in the mornings. By 2 minutes, it got earlier and earlier and earlier. And at night, it got later by about 1 minute, later and later and later. Time to eat was later. time to get up became early and early and earlier. So that was really a struggle for me. And so the gain I got was that I had to fit my meal in time to get into bed at least by 11 o'clock. That was my goal. I didn't always make it. Sometimes it was 12 o'clock or 12:30, but the goal was to be in the bed by 11 o'clock. So the gain was knowing that I can eat my one meal within 2 hours, because previously, I mean, my one meal would be like from 3 to 4 to 5 hours, you know, you know. So that was a big gain for me, because I say, okay, it's 4 to 6, but it didn't work out for me like that. You know, so I said, okay, I can do this 4 to 6, 2 hours. I can get my meal in 2 hours. So that was a huge gain for me. And I'm looking for other gains to come up from the Ramadan as well. But that getting that meal in within 2 hours was a huge gain. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. So, Brother Montgomery, what we're doing a recap of any Ramadan gains that we've had, and we're sharing that with each other. And then on the second part, we will discuss the minister on the Eid prayer line. So if you have anything you'd like to share about your Ramadan, everyone else has shared, feel free to do so.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Walaikum salam, sir.
Well, I was, it was so many, still trying to process all the things that I discovered about myself and the experiences from Ramadan. I found out that a lot of the discipline that you have is indeed a challenge, but a lot of it is in your head. And sometimes when you're explaining something to other people, you realize that you also can be teaching yourself at the same time. When I would mention that I was fasting to most of our people, they'll say, "Oh, I can't do that. That's from what time? Oh, no, that's too long." And what I would say to them is that think about the days when you were really busy and you just didn't realize until about 4 or 5 o'clock that you had anything to eat. I said, so you can do it. So the main thing is to get into your mind that I can do this. And once you get past that part, then you just do it. You got to keep yourself busy. You can't sit around just fiddling around without anything to do, because before you know it, you'll be in a place that you don't want to be. So my gain from Ramadan was discovering my weaknesses and my strengths. My weaknesses and my strengths. And on a spiritual level, it wasn't a night of power, but I had a night of power where I had to get some advice from someone because I had an experience. And the experience was that I thought that someone who used to be with us in the land of the living came to visit me. And it wasn't the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but he was a brother that I know. And I thought that I went to see him. And I had a sister to help me understand, no, he came to see me. And it was real. It was real. A brother who passed among us years ago, who all of us still speak of him. He left us on the rostrum saying a prayer. That's how he made this transition.
Wow.
Yeah. His name is Brother Frank Muhammad. He used to be the minister here in Jackson. And I saw him. I know I saw him. He was bathed in light, very soft light. And he didn't say anything to me. He just was there. I'm sitting in a chair and he was sitting to my right. And that was a profound experience. And some other things, but since I got in here a little behind schedule, I sure hate that I missed the other experiences. But like I say, I discovered mostly what my weaknesses and my strengths were. And I'm not going to take any more of your time.
No problem, sir. And one of the things you said made me think of the minister said, there's nothing more powerful than a made up mind. So,
Right.
yes, sir, your testimony brought that to my mind. So if we don't have any more additions to our Ramadan wins, we will move on to the Eid prayer line when the minister spoke to us yesterday. And what did we think about it, gain from it? And anyone is welcome to jump right on in with that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum. Just a few quick points. I thought it was very beautiful. I think it's beautiful every time we can hear from the Messiah, God's voice amongst us, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. What the main things I remember was he first started, the Messiah first started by saying about, and I read this in the final call also. What he first started was with how the sister who owns the restaurant Foodies, how they fed 1,000 people. And I just thought that was so beautiful because he thanked everyone for their charity, because the charity allowed us to do that. And I just felt like that was so beautiful because how many other things, does the minister do that we don't even know? So when we give, the minister's not hoarding the money. The minister then fed 1,000 people, so that was the first thing that the first point I want to make. And then the minister went into Yemen, and also how the war, the Yemen and Saudi Arabia having a conflict, but also how the war has with Ukraine and Russia has skyrocketed prices, and people are suffering all around the world because they were already in a tight spot in third world countries, but all this is making it worse. And the other part was how we have no part in this war, and everything that the messenger said is coming to pass right now. And those were the main things that I got from the message. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, ma'am. As far as trying to process things and everything that the Messiah said to us yesterday, I'm reminded of what was said when the minister was on the Tavis Smiley show, and Tavis Smiley came back and said, "You all didn't get all that at one time." So I'm paraphrasing what he was saying, but basically, so much comes from the minister that my mind, I won't speak for anyone else, but my mind doesn't catch all of the pertinent, because it's all pertinent information that the minister delivers. But what stood out for me was the serious tone of his words at the end. And Brother Jason just mentioned it as he spoke about the conflict between Saudi Arabia and Yemen, and the ultimate escalation of the war and those ramifications. I've never left the country, and so he spoke on the beauty of some of the places that the Emirates and other Muslim nations were able to develop. And I took it as though he was saying it was as a reward from Allah, that previously it had all been desert, but now they have, I guess he didn't use the word oases, but Dubai and the Emirates and what have you have these cities that are like oases in the middle of the desert. And so just the projection of the two conflicting pictures, the beauty of those cities, and then what we see happening with the war. And I was telling my mother even before Ramadan, well, right at Ramadan, when the war started in the Ukraine, that those cities had been destroyed. I mean, it's no different than I saw a picture of what took place in Syria and other places that America has been in war with. That has to be answered for. And so it was kind of sobering for me, those remarks, because, you know, the minister doesn't speak idle words, and what he says comes to pass. So that's my reflection. I haven't gathered all things from what he said, but those were some highlights that stood out for me. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, sir. Wa alaikum salam. On the point of the conflict with Yemen and Saudi Arabia, the minister he quoted, "And we lament over our prayers that have not yet made us righteous enough to let Allah and his messenger help us to solve our differences without shedding each other's blood." And I thought that was very interesting how we, you know, especially that part of the world, I mean, they're so into their daily prayers. And I remember some of his previous lectures, he'd say, you're shooting the gun saying Allahu Akbar, and the other person's doing the same thing and saying Allahu Akbar, but yet you're shedding each other's blood. Yes, ma'am, Sister Tina.
Yes, ma'am. There were a few points that impacted me a great deal. And one of them is when the minister, he mentioned the hateful sound of the donkey. The hateful sound that the donkey makes, it's hateful in the ears of Allah. And he had suggested that we look into that sound. So I YouTubed it. I YouTubed the sound that the donkey makes, and it is an ugly sound. It is very ugly and very annoying, that sound. And I listened to several different videos, and each one, I mean, it made me cringe, you know. And he said that sound is the same as when we pray in reproach. When we make our prayers, and I'm not saying his exact words, I'm paraphrasing it to how I understood it. When we make our prayers and afterwards we get off the prayer rug and we still can talk about one another, we can still hate one another, we can still be the same ugly person, you know. And I've never heard him, you know, relate the brain of the donkey to that before. So that really made me to want to be so much more aware of my actions, And another point that impacted me was when he said the devastation, in words, he said the devastation is getting closer to our doors. So, yeah, whatever we have stored up, keep storing up. We don't want to be like the grasshopper in the story of the grasshopper and the ant. So that's what I'm saying to me. And and how he said Europe will be a graveyard. I mean, and his whole talk to us was that one level. From times that I've heard him speak to us before, when he gave us the serious part, he also gave us a light side. There was no light side here. The only light side was how to, escape by, striving to be righteous, striving, for righteousness. But it was all in the same line of the devastation. Another point was that the mercy and the benefit of being in a state of repentance, that, oh my goodness. He talked about how there's mercy from Allah. I forget the word that he used, but there's mercy from Allah when we're in a state of repentance. So that also spoke to me in wanting to look at me and just be in a continuous state of repentance. And another point was, from what I got out of what he was saying and what I have read in the Holy Quran, none of us are secure from Allah's chastisement, and we can be made secure in his bosom. So by turning to Allah and just trying to get closer and closer and closer to our God, Allah, and the person of Master Fard Muhammad, that's the way to go. So I'm sending this video, already sent it to 2 of my children, and I'm sending this message to all of my relatives, really basically everyone in my contacts, Yes. So that's it. Thank you.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you. I jotted down that same thing, Sister Tina, about the brain of an ass. And he said, when we say Allahu Akbar, how beautiful is that sound? But if we follow that call up with reproach and injury to one another, praying is like the brain of an ass in the ears of Allah. He is angry today, beloved Muslims, Christians, and Jews, and human beings of our planet. The God of justice is angry, and his anger is going to be poured out now over the nation. And the earth will be a wide expanse with much room in it, because death is going to be widespread. So I'm with you there, sister. When the brain of the ass, I would always hear Brother Ishmael. He would say it on the rostrum, like that's the, awful sound. And like you listen to it, and it is quite awful, but I've never heard it expressed this way as how the minister gave it to us. Yes, sir, Brother Wadu.
Yes, ma'am. If I may connect what Sister Tina and yourself are pointing out, as it pertained to how the Muslims of the East would not lament over their prayers, and in regard to the coming tragedies, it kind of makes me think about him, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, telling us and encouraging us to use this Ramadan not as just a ritual, not just as, okay, we went through Ramadan and Sister Tina mentioned it, but now do we go back to just being whatever we were before Ramadan, but to actually lament over the Ramadan and to, as she said, stay in the bosom of Allah. So to use Ramadan as a springboard to utilize what we were able to do and the strength that we gained in Ramadan to propel us forward, to keep it going, because we're going to need it. That's all. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So another part for me, and I'll read another quote from the minister. I'm sorry to say to us at the time of Eid that wherever we are in the Muslim world, rejoicing over the success of our Ramadan, yet the heavy clouds of war are gathering over the Muslim world. We are being chastised, and the opening of the serious chastisement of the human family has begun. I have been made a trumpet of warning and good news to our people and to the nations by the permission of Allah. My teacher is Elijah Muhammad, the great messenger of Allah and the great Messiah. He told me that when my trumpet ceases, the second trumpet begins to blast. And he said that second trumpet is the wheel that is above our head. And since Savior's Day, the weather has been unusually brutal with tornadoes and floods and ice and snow and hail and sleet. Incidents after incident, the chastisement of Allah is something to be feared. And we as Muslims, this was a transcription here, and we as Muslims, as by Allah, not just to forsake food and drink during the month of Ramadan, but we are asked to be in a state of repentance. During our reading of the Holy Quran, we come across a verse that the mother town must be warned. The mother town is Mecca, the root of civilization, Mecca, the holy city, 1,400,000,000 Muslims to be warned. And that ties in with what a lot of us were saying, bits and pieces, like the chastisement is here at hand. I'm sorry, I'm letting you, Sister Anya. Does anyone else have anything on the minister? Okay, Sister Anya and Sister Habiba, we were discussing the minister on the Eid prayer line yesterday. We were sharing our comments on what stood out to us. We know it was quite a bit, and we're going to have to listen to it again and again to get the full effect. But if you have anything you'd like to add on that, feel free to do so. And if no one has anything else, we are done. Sister Anya, Sister Habiba, we also shared our Ramadan wins. If you have anything on that before we go, we'd be glad to hear it.
Sorry, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, ma'am.
Sorry, I didn't catch that last part that you said.
We also shared our wins that we had from Ramadan. That was the first part of the call. And if you wanted to share on that or the minister from yesterday, feel free to do so.
Well, a win for me, I guess, would be meeting a challenge with last year. last Ramadan, I had just started on the, well, I was already doing one meal every other day. And at that time, I incorporated the weekly 3-day fast along with that. And then we went right into Ramadan. And I didn't really want, I wanted to keep going with that same fasting schedule. So I said I would challenge myself to do that. And I did it, was able to complete it successfully. And and I've been able to continue that same schedule throughout, for the whole year. I just went past my first year of staying on that schedule, one meal every other day and a 3-day fast every week. But in the course of the year, I've lost a lot of weight. And so this year, again, I didn't want to stop doing that, but I also wanted to do my Ramadan. And so at the beginning, the first week of Ramadan was such a big challenge for me. I was so lethargic and just barely getting through the days, and I've not gotten too much accomplished. The second week was pretty much the same. And then in the third week, it started to get a little bit better. And this last week of Ramadan, it was great. My energy was up and, just was able to get things done, get through the days with ease. All praises due to Allah. So it turned out to be a win. And I was analyzing why it was so easy, much easier last year compared to this year. And in my analysis, I think I could contribute that to weight loss. Those having that fat reserve that we have, I think is very important. And so I'm doing a lot of things now to incorporate, maintaining fat on my body, and which the raw milk, I'm hoping will do, help build me up, because that raw milk is very good for not making you fat, but it just, help you to gain some weight. If that's what you're trying to do, it will help you gain some weight. So that's what I'm hoping to do now. So that was a win for me because it was such a struggle this year to do that on a physical level, as well as mentally, on a mental level as well. It was a very strong mental challenge for me. What else would be a win?
May I ask you something about you say you eat every other day and you fast every week for 3 days?
Yes, ma'am. Initially, I was when I do my one meal every other day, because there's 7 days in a week, what I would do is I would fast. Let me see, I would fast Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And so then I would eat Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I was doing that close to a year before I started. So when I began to add in the 3-day fast, I just cut out eating on Saturday. So I went from eating 4 days a week to eating 3 days a week.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thanks for that clarity, because when I hear 3-day fast, I'm thinking like 3 days consecutive. Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah.
when you say 3 days consecutively?
Right, like the monthly fast, like we.
Yes, ma'am. It is the 3-day fast. It's the 3-day fast that we do monthly. I do that every week.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I'm
Yeah,
looking
you
at your
said Monday.
expression.
You said Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's not
No,
consecutive in my head, but
no, that's when I was for my one meal every other day.
yes, ma'am. Okay,
So
thank
I
you.
would eat. I eat Monday. No, I fast Monday, eat Tuesday, fast Wednesday, eat Thursday, fast Friday, and then I would eat Saturday and Sunday. You know, like on the weekend, those would be my splurge days. But now, for the last year, I've eliminated eating on Saturday. So that makes it the 3-day fast from
Yes,
Thursday being the last meal. And then I would eat, my next meal would be Sunday.
yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have other wins or?
Other wins.
Yeah, I had interrupted you, and I didn't know if you had others.
I guess I'm still analyzing that
Yes, ma'am.
at this point. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. If you're done, thank you. Okay, and I was going. Okay, Sister Carol, what we have done. We started out. We were sharing our wins with the our Ramadan personally. We were sharing our wins, and in the second part, we were discussing what we gained or what stood out to us from the minister yesterday. If there's anything you would like to share, feel free to do so at this time. Sister Habiba, yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
Dear family, sorry it was a little late.
That's fine.
Yes, ma'am. What I wanted to say was, with the reading of the Ramadan Straight Wire reading, it helped me so much this year. I was talking to another believer and I was amazed what was coming out of my mouth, Sister Belinda. I can't speak verbatim what was coming out, but I stopped it. I said, oh my goodness, my instructor would be so very proud of me right now. Praise to Allah.
Praise be to Allah.
Yes, ma'am. But I did find that Ramadan itself was a little bit more challenging for me this year than last year in terms of, the meals. The meals kind of like, it was getting kind of like, serious with me. My stomach was like really in a something. But I think a lot I got to do. The only thing that I have to do is make up Surah 20. But I didn't have to make up any meals or anything like that. So praise be to Allah. Thank Allah for that.
Yes, ma'am.
A wonderful moment for me. So I thank Allah for that. And I don't have any comments about the minister because I got to go back and listen to it some more.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. Thank you, sister.
Thank you, beloved. Thank you, family.
Sister Ania.
Yes, ma'am. In connection with my thoughts on what the minister said yesterday, as well as what I just spoke on about the fasting schedule that I had for Ramadan, one of the reasons why I wanted to do that is because for probably the last, I'd say close to well, probably 10 years, but probably this last 5 years in particular, I've felt an increasing urgency to prepare spiritually and mentally for what we've been told we're going to have to go through, with times getting really, really hard, famine, having to ration our food, having to live off our survival kits, or being uprooted from our homes. Whatever it is that we're going to have to face, we know we're going to have to go through something very dynamic and very challenging. And so I wanted to, that was another reason I wanted to be able to challenge myself to do that fasting schedule, because years ago, when I first came into the nation back in the early 80s, we had always been taught that a time would come where, we would have to rely on being a time would come where we wouldn't be able to just eat as normal. We'd have to discipline ourselves to eat one meal every 3 days. And you'd have to, based on who was in your environment, you may have to sacrifice eating so that children could eat, or elderly could eat, or the sick among you could eat. And that the others would have to, forego that. So it can really mess with your mind when you're suddenly thrust into situations like that, dealing with calamities, war, and everything. And so a lot of people lose it because the things that they're used to, being able to just eat all the time, when you're going through hardships, eating becomes a very important thing. People in prisons that are locked down, people in mental institutions and different things like that, because their freedoms are taken away from them, or they're restricted in what they can do, things like eating become very, very important. And so that's a great discipline. And it's one that when you're just suddenly thrust into it and you're not used to it, it can really mess with your mind. So it was part of challenging myself for that. And then to hear the minister speak of the judgment and how, that we don't have to think now about when it's going to come. He said it's here. So it's not to come anymore. It's here. And again, Allah's mercy and grace is that he takes us into that. Still, he takes us into that degree by degree. So it's not like you just wake up one morning and boom, we're full throttle into it. We still have some time to prepare, because you can go outside now and all looks calm, to the point where it may make some people say that, well, if they heard the minister, well, what's he talking about? Everything looks fine. Everything's going on business as usual. And, that urgency that I've been feeling, it was, I heard that in what the minister said to us yesterday. So I just wanted to share that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, beloved. Does anyone else have anything they would like to add?
Yes, ma'am. I feel like
Well,
can I be heard? Oh, okay. I feel like I'm speaking too low. Yes, ma'am. Well, I had a beautiful Ramadan. I thank Allah, thank Allah, thank Allah for that. It was a beautiful Ramadan. I didn't have a issue with fasting. All praises due to Allah. I've never had a difficult time. That's never, for some reason, that's never been a thing with me. So like sister before me, yeah, that's my focus, where we're going and what we're going to be confronted with, and my grandbaby's looking up at me and said, "Oh no, you gotta have some food." Grandmama all hungry. Oh, darling. Yeah. So, so I was just doing, regular. The only thing that really, I was really wanting, I was into increasing my prayers during the night, like waking up at 2 or 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and just staying up even when it wasn't the night of power. So I had to learn to, which I've never done, but I did it, and it helped me. I took a nap during the day, and I don't take naps. So I said, let me try this right here, because staying up all night, and then you right back into the same cycle. Well, I said, boy, that was going to be a little shaky there. So I started, I did. I said, I'm going to take me another nap. That worked really good. So when I got up at 3 o'clock, hey, I felt like I slept 8 hours or something. So it was really good. So I'm glad I did that. And just listening for the lecture and for Minister Farrakhan's message to us about Ramadan, it was really all about, here we are. If you're not into it, you better get into it, because all our feet are into it, and this is it. The world is into the judgment, not just us in America. So, yes, ma'am. And I did eat every day, because prior to Ramadan, I was eating like 2 days a week, and I got down to a weight that I felt like I was like air or Wrigley Bones or something. I said, oh my God, I feel too thin. So
Yes,
I got like 119. No, I got down to 114 pounds. Oh my God, this is too much. So I ate. I said, I gotta put back on some weight. So I did, and then I got up to about 120. I felt better. And so I weighed myself this morning. I hadn't weighed myself since February. And I weighed myself this morning on 120.6. So that's still thin, but it's the quote unquote weight, Let me say, when we talk, so don't let me catch you where you weighing other than yourself. It's a spiritual thing. So yes, it's a beautiful Ramadan, and I am looking forward to the and what's the name of my thing? I know I have it written down. There are 10 additional days that we can fast after Ramadan, and I did it last year, and it was really cool. It was really. I'm trying to get all the blessings and strength I can. So I'm gonna participate in that. I'm gonna do that again this year, like I did last year. Do those 10 additional days. So
great.
yes. Yeah, that's good.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Sister Tina.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. Sister Ania said something. She said that the people, to paraphrase what she said, the people are looking and saying, oh, it's business as usual, like nothing's really going on, and so my mind went to Noah, the days of Noah, and how the people were saying that very same thing. He built this ark and it's sunshine out there, there's no rain. Oh, he's crazy. And the scriptures say that we will be living in the last days, would be days like Noah and days like Sodom and Gomorrah, days like Lot's. So when she said that, it just verified even more for me the reality of the time in which we're living, and that we're being guided rightly. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And what you said about Noah made me think of, I believe it was Brother Ishmael who said that we're only 8 years shy of 100 years of the warning that the nation has been given. I thought that was quite interesting. And is there anyone else? If not, we will land the plane. Sister Ania.
Yes, ma'am. Sister Carol mentioned the additional days of fasting, and I don't know if anybody else has heard about that, but I've done that as well. The last, I think, the last 3 years I've done that, and I didn't hear of 10 days, but I heard of 6 days of additional fasting, and so I just wanted to, let's see, there's a hadith that goes with that. If I could pull it up real quick. Um, let's see. One of the things they say is that fasting 6 days in Shawwal, which is the month that follows Ramadan, is like fasting throughout the whole year. And it's explained in a hadith by Abu Ayyub, which states, whoever fasts the months of Ramadan and then follows it with 6 days of fasting in the month of Shawwal, it will be as if he has fasted the year through. And then it says, this is because Allah said in Surah Al-An'am, verse 160, whoever comes with a good deed will receive 10 times as much. Since one's good deeds is multiplied by tenfold, fasting in the month of Ramadan is like fasting for 10 months. And fasting 6 days in the month of Shawwal is like fasting for 60 days, 2 months. So when the two are added up, it makes 1 year. And then the Prophet explained, whoever fasts 6 days after the fitr will have completed the year, for whoever does a good deed will have the reward of 10 like it. So I just wanted to add that if anybody was, had any questions about what Sister Carol was referencing.
So do you know when that fast comes up again? Is it like if we wanted to start it tomorrow, or
Right, because the day after Ramadan, of course, is the Eid, Eid al-Fitr. So we do not fast that day. But then you would start again. So today would be the first day. So if you didn't do it, I mean, I'm sure that you could still start tomorrow if you wanted to do that and just do 6 days. And I mean, we're sensible Muslims. I still think that you would get credit with Allah, so.
Okay, I'm having I need to go on mute. If there isn't anything else, if I can get someone to close out in prayer, it would be beautiful. If we have no more comments.
Sister Belinda, did you give everybody an update earlier with Brother Batim?
I can't right now, so if you all just want to hold, but there's someone in the room right now. I really can't talk right now.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Can one of the brothers close us out, please?
Yes, ma'am. I close out.
Thank you, sir.
Brothers and sisters, attention prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Master of the day of requital. Thee alone we serve, thine aid do we seek. O Allah, guide us on the right path, the path of those whom thou hast bestowed thy favors, and not those whom thy wrath has brought down, nor those who go astray. Amen.
I mean, thank you, everyone. And I'll send an update out via email. That's the only way I can contact everyone. Thank you for your prayers. He's doing well, and he'll have another service on Thursday. So more prayers will be needed from the believers. Thank you. We love you. May Allah continue to bless you all. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. We love you too.
Love you
Thank
too.
you.
Love you too.
Walaikum salam.